What's up, everybody? I'm here from Rewind 245. I'm here to respond to Adam Sesslers' video and Sessler Something with Rev3 Games. He talked about just a couple days ago about what makes fanboys. Why are some people fanboys? Why do they attack some people just over a piece of plastic, a console, a box, a toy box, basically. And I have several reasons why that could be. Adam Sesslers also said what could be the psychology behind fanboyism, and I have been studying some psychology, so I will give a little bit tidbit of that. So yeah, I think one reason why some people are fanboys is the nostalgia factor. I think people who grew up with a specific console will lean towards or prefer with that console throughout their life or something like that. That's not entirely true. Some people who grew up with PlayStation or Nintendo will probably eventually move on depending if the other console is more attractive. But me, for instance, I grew up with PlayStation, and I wouldn't call myself a fanboy. I'm pretty open-minded to playing other games and consoles, but I do prefer their lineup of games. I do prefer their systems. I've been stuck with PlayStation with 1, 2, and 3. So I think that's one part of the reason is the nostalgia factor. We prefer something that we have loved since a child and that is still continuing on to this day. That could also be hold true to Nintendo fans. I know there's a lot of big loyal Nintendo fans that are still stuck with that system. But yeah, to me that's just one reason. Reason number two, in my opinion, will be just preference. Simple as that. Some people may just prefer another console because of games or don't worry about the dog. Because of the games, because of the features or the user interface, whatever. I know a lot of PlayStation gamers, and the reason why I'm still playing in PlayStation is because of the games, their expansive library and their strong first-party support. Jesus fuck. Sorry for the language. Anyway, and I think that's part of it. And some people may prefer Xbox because of their games, because of Halo and Gears, and maybe they like their user interface better. And there are pros and cons to all different kinds of consoles. The Wii U, even though it's struggling, there's some cool features on it as well. The PlayStation, and it has attractive games, but the system is just slow. It takes forever to get to PlayStation Store. It takes forever to go check out your trophies, and then Xbox is all quick. But I think that's one part of the reason is just our preference. And when we see someone attack our preference, then that kind of raises our defense mechanisms and be like, no, I like this system better because yada yada yada. If you have someone if you have an Xbox gamer attacking a PlayStation gamer, like, your system is slow as fuck, then the PlayStation gamer will retaliate saying, yeah, so what, we have better games than you. But I think that's one reason. That's reason number two. But I got two more reasons. To me, reason number three is just probably the luxury or the pricing of the consoles. Like, which one are you gonna pick? I know I have a friend right now who was kind of in the mix of which system to get first for the next generation, the PS4 or the Xbox One, because both kind of attract him, and not a lot of the PlayStation exclusives attract him except for Killzone, and the only game that attracts him in the Xbox One is Titanfall. But I think that's just a matter of pricing and what you prefer. Is that right now the PlayStation 4 is only $400, so you're gonna have a lot of people going into that because it's much more cheaper. And I think that's one reason. This is my reason number three, is that we paid money for this gaming box, this toy, this entertainment system, and then when you have someone attacking your hobby, basically your favorite thing to do, your favorite thing that entertains you, when someone attacks you and says, oh, the PS4 is crap or whatever, is not interesting, there's nothing interesting about it, it's kind of offensive in a way, because you paid $400 for this box and someone's attacking you, and you're like, I paid good money for this and I just want to enjoy it, but there's people out there who are criticizing me as a person just because I own this console, and it kind of raises defense mechanisms, and it makes people retaliate in a way where I feel like that that their box, it feels very valuable to them, not just as just a box, but something that they get stick with and they relate to, and it's almost like family. And I'll talk about that later. But sometimes for some people, having a gaming system is a lot like having a family, and in a way it's sad, but for a lot of people it's kind of good. They need something to just detach from the world and have something where they could be entertained and lose their minds to. But that's my reason number 3, is that paying the price for something, and then having people attack you over it, and then you retaliate back and say, I love this system, I paid $400 for this system, or $500 if you got Xbox One. These are the reasons why I made this purchase, why this company's better, why this system is better, yada yada. And my reason number 4 will have to be really the society we live in. We live in a very capitalist society, the United States. This may hold differently in other countries. I can't speak for other countries. I live in America. But we live in a country where it's focused on the me and the I's. And when you have someone attacking your favorite system and your favorite games, it does raise defense mechanism. You'll be like, this is the reason why I like it. And this is why you're wrong. And this is what we learn in psychology, is that in America, it's all focused on the me and I's, and it's kind of unhealthy because it causes a lot of confrontation. It's more healthy to live in a more collective society, not really a communist. That's a conversation for later, but basically what we learned there is that if you're living in a society where it's more collectively, more social, then it's a more healthy environment. There's more support. There's less me and I's, and more yes you cans. Supporting one another and not really competing. Not stabbing someone's back just because you want one job or significant other. So I think that's another part of the reason, is that capitalist society, is that when someone does attack us and say your PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo sucks, and it kind of raises your defense mechanisms, and you kind of focus on yourself, and you also kind of focus on your system, and that's to me reason number 5, is the system is, for a lot of people, their family. And that's something that I learned in psychology as well, is that our teacher had us draw our childhood, and what I drew was the first system I had and the characters that I grew up with, and it was the PlayStation 1, and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. These are the games I grew up with and I adored, and my psychology teacher noticed this with a lot of young people around their 20s, late 20s, early 20s, late 20s. And he noticed this, and that he realizes that the systems like PlayStation, Nintendo, Nintendo 64s or whatever, any kind of systems, those were kind of like family. We spend a lot of time with that system, that we become very attached to it, in a very emotional level. And I think that's another reason why we get so defensive when people attack us over our preference of console, because it is more than just a toy. It's an emotional connection, and it's kind of cheesy to say, but for some of us it is. And I would admit, to me it is an emotional connection, because I did grow up with the PlayStation, and I've been playing games on 1, 2, 3 PSP throughout my majority of my life, and I think that's part of the reason, is that we see the systems as more than just a toy box. It's family, it's an emotional connection. And as children, we had these games like Spyro or Crash or Mario or whatever, and they're like cartoons. We grew up with them, we like them. And for older generation people, maybe like people like my mom and dad, those are like their Tom and Jerry's, things that they grew up with and they loved. Like, even though I don't play Crash or Spyro anymore, those are things that I will remember for life, and that they meant something in my childhood. And now as an adult, you have games like The Walking Dead and The Last of Us that are have much more character depth, much more story depth, are much more darker, and there's a lot more meaning to their stories. So it creates another kind of connection and emotion where, you know, I like this system because they have these kinds of games that I enjoy and they mean a lot to me and yada yada. But yeah, that's my take on why people are so fanboyism. It could be nostalgia, it could be the pricing of the system, it could be the way our capitalist society is, or it could just be that even though, Adam, you said that this is just a toy box or whatever, I forgot what you said, to some people it's more than just a toy box. It's an emotional connection. It's something that's a part of our life. It's kind of depressing in a way, but another way it kind of holds true. So yeah, what do you think? Let me know what you think. That's all I gotta say. Put a little bit of psychology in there, and I think that's, I can't speak for everybody, but I think that's how some people feel about their consoles, or maybe that's what their thought process is. But maybe unconsciously they don't know. It's just maybe if they think about it, they will know. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.